Hello, 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 and welcome to the Ball and All podcast. It's your weekly basketball podcast. This month and towards the end of the WNBA season, we'll be focusing on the WNBA. Remember, my name is Mpho, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mpho, or you can subscribe to the Ball and All YouTube channel where you're watching. We're live on Twitter. Hello, we're also live on YouTube. So thank you very much for your support. Please do send through your comments. Firstly, what I wanted to discuss this week, we're entering the final week of the WNBA. So just wanted to give you a lay of the land with the standings. Then we'll go into the playoff permutations. Then we'll discuss the final weekend of fixtures. It ends on Sunday. And then after that, you've got playoff starting on the 23rd, which is next week, Thursday. So on the 24th, I'll be discussing what happened in the first round of the playoffs. And then we've got the second round of the playoffs over the weekend. And then the semifinals start, which are best of three, and the finals are best of five. So we've got a long way to go. But let's start off with how the standings look. From a standings perspective, the Connecticut Sun have run away with the regular season title. They are number one. They're sitting there with the double bye. The Aces, the Las Vegas Aces, are one win away from clinching or Minnesota Lynx loss away from clinching the double bye. Essentially, the Lynx need the Aces to lose the next two matches, and the Lynx just need to win their remaining games. The Lynx have the Fever and the Mystics, which is very probable that they'll win their next two games, whereas the Aces have the Phoenix Mercury to play with. We'll talk about the Aces sometime later on in this game, in this episode. But looking further down, the Lynx essentially have either clinched position 2 or 3. I don't think anybody below them can beat them. And if you look at the Seattle Storm, and it's a battle now between the Seattle Storm and the Phoenix Mercury for that number 4 spot. Seattle play Phoenix tonight or on Friday in essentially what is a position 4 matchup. If Seattle win this one, they go 21-11, and Phoenix go 19-12, which means that Phoenix can no longer catch Seattle. However, Phoenix do win, they go 20-11, and from a head-to-head perspective, they will be tied on head-to-head. So we'll go down to teams who have played against teams 500, who have a better record against teams 500 above. But the one thing that Phoenix has is a final game against the Aces. If they then do lose to the Aces, they go 20-12, which will be tied with the Storm. And so we're going to go down the pecking order from a tiebreaker. So both teams, if Phoenix wins tonight, both teams will. If Phoenix wins tonight. So if Phoenix wins tonight, they actually will take the spot at 4 because they actually do have the head-to-head. But if Seattle wins, they will win it outright. So that's how it actually works for a 4 at 5. And then from a 6, Chicago Sky have solidified 6. So have Dallas at 7. Well, Dallas can still be caught at 7 by the Washington Mystics, but the Mystics have the New York Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx, so it's a really, really tough one. It'll be hard to see Dallas move out of the to be usurped from number 7, but it is still possible. But they have clinched their playoff spot. Washington need it's Washington, the Sparks, and the New York Liberty. Let me talk about the Liberty quickly. I think the Liberty have all effectively eliminated themselves. The best they can get to is 12-20, which would mean that the Mystics would have to lose against the Liberty, and then they'd have to lose against the Minnesota Lynx to give a 12-20. The worst the Sparks can be is also 12-20 if they lose against Dallas Wings on Sunday. So you'll have 3 teams on 12-20. We're going to go to head-to-head. I think the Sparks have a better head-to-head record against all 3 of these teams, which will be very wild for the Sparks to make it through. But there are so many other head-to-head permutations in a 3-way tie scenario. But from a head-to-head perspective, the New York Liberty, effectively, I think they are eliminated. They still have their last chance, which is against the Washington Mystics. If they do beat the Washington Mystics and the Mystics then go on to lose against the Lynx, it gives them an opportunity to come through and take over from them there. Now, So that's the eight. So that's going to be quite interesting. So I'm going to give you the games to watch this weekend. So from the games to watch this weekend, the first one is that Washington Mystics and New York Liberty match on Friday night or tonight. That is a key. Liberty win, they open up the race for eighth, creates an open door for the Sparks to walk through, and probably the Liberty to walk through, depending on how the head-to-head rolls out. On top of that, you've got another game to watch out for. Obviously, Indiana, Phoenix, and Minnesota Lynx. Minnesota need a win there. The Aces need a win against the Sky to secure that double bye. So that's going to be quite intriguing to see how the Aces go up against the Sky. But the big matchup for Friday night is that Phoenix Mercury Seattle Storm game. That's for the battle of number 4, that single bye playoff. Because if you don't win that match, you play again on Thursday. If you do, you play on the weekend because you receive that bye. So that's a massive game for both teams. Seattle without Brianna Stewart is going to be pretty tough, but we'll see how that goes. They really struggled against the Sparks without her, only managing 53 points on the court, and the Sparks, who literally finished most of their games in and around 70 points, just kept up doing their end of the bargain. Then if you look at the Sunday, it was the final game of fixtures, the Aces versus the Phoenix Mercury in some sort of a semi-final preview. If you'd like to think about that. And then the Minnesota Lynx playing on the Washington Mystics. Should the Liberty win on Friday night, everybody will be watching to see what the Mystics do. The Mystics need a win to actually qualify, to solidify that 8th spot. So they are just on the cusp of doing that. And obviously the Sparks, depending on what happens on Friday, will be looking to play to see if they can't be another team, a 12 and 20 team, as is to get there through. But even with them, a win also gives them a big enough chance. Because, for instance, if they win and the Mystics lose and the Liberty lose, they will take the 8th spot, as you've seen there. So that's an interesting way to look. So those are some of the key matchups. So Sunday, final game of the season, some really good matchups there. A Sparks versus Wings, as well as the Aces versus the Mercury, but most importantly, that Mystics Lynx game has a lot at stake. For instance, if the Aces lose on Friday night and the Mystics and the Lynx win, then it goes down to the final day for that double bye, and the Lynx could usurp the Aces at the post. So that's something you need to watch. So a lot of games to be watched. So that's quite the interesting part of it all. Now let's move on to the playoff picture, what it looks like now before the final weekend, and I'll tell you how it might change. So how it might change is position 4. The Mercury, if you look there, they're 4th. The Mercury could move up with a win against the Storm to the second round, and the Storm could go down to play number 8, which either could be the Mystics, the Sparks, and the Liberty. Explained that a couple of moments ago. From a Chicago Sky and Dallas Wings, that is set. That's going to happen unless the Mystics win both their games, then they will drop, and then Dallas will play Phoenix. I like the Chicago Sky Dallas matchup. It's going to be really good. 3-point shooting across the board. Ali Quigley, Erika Ogunbowale, you've got Candace Parker, Satu Sabali is back. So that's going to be a really good game next week. Thursday, Phoenix Mercury with Brittany Griner, MVP candidate. Skylar Diggins-Smith, also an MVP candidate, against Washington Mystics, who have Tina Charles, Ariel Atkins, but they don't have Elena Deladon and Maisha Hines-Allen. So that's going to be quite tough for the Mystics. They've done well so far to get to where they are. And then obviously moving over into round 2, the winners of those, the lower ranked team will play the Lynx, the higher ranked team will play the Storm, and then Connecticut Sun and Las Vegas Aces. 2 and 3 could swap depending on what happens this weekend, but this is what the playoffs look like. They start on Thursday, and so that's going to be quite cool. So really do watch out for that. The end of the WNBA regular season. We've now gotten to the end of the season in this truncated, Olympic-affected, COVID-affected season. Really done well has Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner, and her team to get the WNBA to this point in time. So that's it from me. Enjoy this weekend's basketball. Hope your team makes it. Hope your team has all the success in the world, and have a good one. From myself, Mpho and the rest of the Ball and All team. Remember, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. For myself, Lesale Kakagiso.